Hello, McFatter Technical High School students and parents. Welcome to 2021 and our first broadcast of the new year, a year that we hope will be a much better one for all of us than 2020 was for so many people. And as Ms. DeCastro pointed out to the three of us as we were getting ready to start talking, it means it's the start of the second year in which the three of us have been YouTubers coming to you every week. So we hope these have been helpful videos to you, and we've certainly enjoyed doing them. It feels like a little tiny bit of connection in an otherwise kind of disconnected environment. So welcome back to the new year. As always with me, the assistant principal in charge of the high school, Mr. Daryl Harris.
Hello there.
And our magnet coordinator, Miss Lily DeCastro.
Hello.
So let's dive into the updates for the week of January 7th. And we want to start very briefly by reminding all of you about the Magnet Open House. For those of you who have younger children or friends of the family who are thinking of joining us next year, we are in the middle of the application process and the Magnet Open House is coming right up. And for that, I turn it over to Ms. DeCastro.
Hi, guys. So on Tuesday, January 12th at 6:30 p.m., we will have our virtual open house. It will use Teams. So make sure you log in or tell them to log in with their students. It will be an open access meeting. There are limits on the number of people that Teams will permit. So log in on time early if possible. And the link will be shown on our main page of our website, the high school website, so that people can gain access to it that day. There will be a chat available and teachers answering questions for us. So we look forward to seeing anyone who has an interest in McFatter.
And the deadline for people who are applying for next year?
Oh, wow. I forgot the answer to that question. I believe it is on February.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
It's okay. I knew it before. I believe it's on February 8th, but I will also post that on the website if I am wrong with that. And the applications can be filled in at browardschools.com/school choice. So that's where the applications get completed by that date. Doesn't matter if you apply first or last, as long as you apply on time. And in the event we have a wait pool, we would need everyone in the first round to be considered if you do apply late. So,
and I think, and you correct me if I misstate this, but I think this is important, especially for our families that do have younger siblings. They may be aware that there is a sibling preference that applies, meaning if you have a child who is already here and will be with us next year, in other words, not a graduating senior, but if you have a child who's here and will be with us next year, and then you have a younger child, that child does get in without having to go through the lottery as long as they meet criteria and you need to apply by the deadline, correct?
Absolutely. And the test scores that they're looking at are obviously not from the 2019-2020 school year because there were none. It's actually from the 2018-2019 school year. So, and if anything is missing, they can email me, lily.decastro@browardschools.com, and I can answer questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And again, so siblings, make sure you don't miss the deadline.
We can't do anything if they do. There's no overriding that for late applications.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
As we are rapidly nearing the end of the second quarter and approaching the third quarter, we've been making preparations for the transition of students to their new schedule, their new classes. Both before the winter break and for a couple days over the winter break, we were doing textbook collection. And then this week we've been doing some textbook distribution, and we have one more session still to go after today. And so for that, I wanted to turn it over to Mr. Harris.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Johnson. So obviously your textbooks are very important. So we will have an additional day for textbook pickup this Saturday from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. You will pick the textbooks up on the west side of campus. Now, we will do it a little differently this time. So once you drive up, you will go ahead and park, and we have the students come in, and we're going to have it organized where it's like a bookstore. The students will come in, they'll get their schedule, we'll collect the textbooks for them, sign them out, and it will be a much quicker process this time than we've had in the past. So we learn, as we do more, we learn. And so this will be a good experience. And so the past few days have gone really well. Students have spent a small amount of time here on campus picking up their textbooks. So that is very important that you get those textbooks. Also, if you have not returned any textbooks, we do need them. the current ones that you have for the current semester, or hopefully not for a previous year also, but bring those textbooks back to us because we will need those eventually. So we just need to get those and get them sanitized and everything. So please bring any old textbooks that you from the current semester or any previous year, and also you'll get your new textbooks this Saturday. So this is a makeup day actually. So we are having an extra day for you from 8 a.m. until 12 noon on the west side of campus.
And because it's a makeup day, both the day and the whole time, there's no division by grade level. Students can come at any time, no matter their grade level.
That is correct. We've been having grade levels by day since this Tuesday. So this will be for anyone that forgot and you didn't have an opportunity rather to make it these past few days. You can pick up your textbooks this Saturday.
Perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about the third quarter. The first thing we need to be sure you realize is that the third quarter does not start on Monday. There's been some confusion. We actually had a couple people who thought it started this Monday. The third quarter starts on Wednesday of next week. So students will still be continuing to attend, whether remotely or in person, their current classes the remainder of this week, as well as Monday and Tuesday. Those of you who are choosing to switch from remote instruction to on-campus instruction, you're making that switch for the second semester. So you will not start on campus until Wednesday because the second semester doesn't start till that day. So for everyone, whether remote or on campus, the third quarter, second semester starts on Wednesday. As we did in August when the first semester began, we will have on Wednesday what we call our open virtual mall. We found some students found that helpful. Since you're starting up a new set of classes, it's basically going to be sort of like an open Zoom room or an open Teams room, where if you don't know where to go the first day to find your remote classes, will be available for you during first and part of second period for sure on Wednesday. The link to that, I believe Ms. DeCastro is going to send out, but I didn't know when you were sending that out.
My aim will be to send that link out probably on Tuesday after our open house. I just don't want people clicking on the wrong thing, and they don't need it till Wednesday morning. So my intent will be to do it Tuesday night.
That's a great
Wednesday morning at the latest.
With the open house link, absolutely. So again, for those of you who will be attending virtually, if you have trouble figuring out where to go, and we think people will have a little easier time of it this time than some of you had in August because you've been through it now. You may know how to navigate Teams and Canvas better to find where you need to get. But if you have any troubles, you'll be able to join us there and we can get you to the right spot. So that's for our students who will be attending virtually. For our students who are attending face-to-face, obviously the situation will be different. And so we kind of wanted to spend the remainder of this week's session talking about the procedures and protocols for our students who will be joining us face-to-face. Because we do have more students joining us face-to-face for the second semester than we had the third semester. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. It is still a relatively small number of students. Based upon the survey results, for the current term, we have around 30 to 35 students approximately who are with us every day. Based on the survey results, we expect about 90 students with us for the start of the second semester. So that's about 15% of our student population. So we do expect that about 85% of you are still continuing with remote instruction, at least for the beginning of the term. But we have our percentage on campus is going to move up to about 15%. So since it will be the first time many of those students will be with us on campus, we wanted to walk through some of how the protocols work and some of what will be expected of you, both so that you know what to expect and so that hopefully you feel comfortable about your choice. So wanted to go through some of those things. So first, let me mention, as I mentioned, it's still 85% remote and only 15% face-to-face. What that does mean from an instructional standpoint is that all of our classes remain what we're calling blended classroom instruction, meaning your teachers, whether you are on campus or at home, are still teaching via the computer to a class of students that is a mix of both face-to-face and students learning remotely. So that is still going to be the primary method of instruction for everyone, whether you are on campus or at home. What that does mean is that for all of you who will be joining us for on-campus learning, and again, those of you who've been doing it, this is nothing new. But for those of you who will be joining us newly for on-campus learning, you need to be sure that you're going to need to bring your laptop and a set of headphones with you every single day, in addition to any textbooks or whatever that you might need to be bringing, because that will still be the primary delivery method through which you're accessing the instruction and working with your teacher and your classmates. So you're going to need to bring those computers, those laptops, and headphones with you every day. The first day, we will have a few spares if we have anyone who forgets them, or if you have any trouble with yours, and we'll have tech support here on campus to support you in that. But we need to be sure everyone remembers to bring their laptop and their headphones daily. There are also some expectations we have of the students in terms of how they behave and they conduct themselves. All of these expectations are built around CDC guidelines and school district policies and procedures, and they're designed to keep everyone safe. And so for that, I wanted to turn it over to Mr. Harris to talk a little bit about that.
All right, thanks, Ms. Johnson. And one of the last things that she just said was key is that we want to keep you safe. All right, so that's why it's very important that all the students, as well as the entire staff and faculty that is here, are following the same rules and guidelines to make sure that everyone is safe. One of the things which is pretty much what we're all used to now, is that we need to make sure that it is required that we wear a mask every single day, all the time. Now, I have my mask here, putting it on, and believe me, I've gotten used to it because I use it all the time. At work, when I go to the grocery store, whatever I do, I wear my mask all the time. Now, and it's important when I talk about masks is that you wear the right type of mask. And the 3 masks you saw each of us wear just then are the correct type. You can't wear the gator mask, the ones that cover your whole neck, your nose, but we need to wear the correct type of mask. If you have an N95 mask, that's great. But these masks here are just as fine. The cloth mask or the little surgical mask, they're all perfect to wear. But if you don't have a mask, I can get you one, but you have to have a mask on, okay? When you come to school every single day, and keep it on at all times, except when you're having lunch. You can take the mask off when you're having lunch. Thank you. And Ms. Johnson has noticed that it's covering her nose and her mouth at all times and stuff. So we've gotten used to it. We got to keep each other safe and ourselves as well. So make sure you have the right type of mask when you come. Another important thing is physical distancing. You will see signs all over the campus, especially all over the high school and the mall area, about keeping your distance, keeping at least 6 feet from each other. And even Ms. Johnson, she's all the time on campus. You may see her walking around, putting her hands out, saying, "Spread out, you're too close." Okay, so that is very important that we have to keep our physical distancing. And one of our administrators, Mr. Rothman, he's not on the call, but he has done an awesome job as well with setting up all the classrooms to make sure that the desks are spread out, as well as sanitation in the room. They're being sprayed professionally from an outside company twice a week, but daily they're sprayed from our own staff to clean the rooms and stuff, like Ghostbusters, where they come in, they spray the rooms down, keep everyone safe. There's hand sanitizer in every room. So the students, when they come in, they should wash their hands every single day. So there are a lot of things, and you'll get used to it for the new students. And we haven't really had any problems because students are following the rules, staff is following the rule and the guidelines to keep everyone safe. Another thing I want to mention is that even as far as walking, the sidewalks are marked. They have directional signs on them. So in case you're walking out of one classroom, your other classroom might be right behind you, but technically you need to walk around in the one direction, and that's just to keep all the students safe. So there's red arrows marked on the sidewalk, so you know which way to go to get to your class, and you'll have enough time to make it there, I'm sure. So these are just a few of the things that I want to mention, but they're very important. With the mask, with the physical distancing, lunch is going to look a little bit different, but we are adding more space, more tables, because so students have to spread out when they're even having lunch as well. So those are just some of the things I want to mention. And Ms. Johnson, if there's anything else you want to add?
I wanted to add, you mentioned about the one-way hallways, and I also wanted to mention our stairwells are now one-way. Some stairwells are up only and some are down only. And again, these are all changes recommended by both the CDC and the District Security and Safety Department, and it's all about helping to maintain physical distance and protocols to help keep people safe. Students who regularly want to drink water through the day might also want to bring their own water bottles. Because again, in order to provide for sanitation, some of the things you're accustomed to, like lots of water fountain access are not operating as fully as they typically do. We do have an increased amount of facilities personnel on campus. So there is much more during the day sanitizing of bathrooms and doorknobs and that sort of thing. We are very proud. I've said repeatedly, both to staff and to others, there have been staff and students with our school who have tested positive for COVID. However, we've had not one case of any of these COVID positive situations where when it was traced back, it was not caught, it was not transmitted here on campus. They're transmissions that are occurring off campus. And we believe that the reason for that is for everything we've talked about. All the protocols work when they're followed, and everyone is following them. They're maintaining distance, they're wearing their masks, they're following the one direction, we're sanitizing frequently. And so we need everyone to continue doing that because that's how we keep everyone safe and healthy.
Ms. Johnson, is one thing, maybe you might want to mention this here. So for those students that are coming for the first time next Wednesday, you will be greeted. And you want to maybe say what that will look like for those students that show up?
I want to ask Mr. Castro to talk about what's going to happen the first day for students. We want to be sure everyone is clear, not only where they go for their classes, but also how things work here on campus in the COVID times.
Gotcha.
So that and what's going to happen on that first day orientation, as well as to explain how lunch works, I want to turn that over to Mr. Castro.
Okay, thank you. So upon entering campus, you will be greeted by a staff member. There will be several people on the west side and on the east side. And whether you take a bus or come in as a car rider, and you will first be asked, how do you feel today? And go through a health screening check. Nobody's going to take your temperature, but you are asked to ask yourself these questions before you come to school. But for the first few days, we will ask you a second time, just so you get used to the practice. Students who have not been on campus before, and it is their first day, we will give you your schedule. The students who are currently on campus, we've already given them their schedules, or will if they were absent yesterday. But by Wednesday, they will definitely have their new schedules and their textbooks. Within the first few days, we will also give those students their textbooks. They do not have to come to textbook pickup. We'll do that when they come on campus. Once you get your schedule, you'll go to class. But in the morning, the traditional school lunch program is available for free to all students. So we need to get back into practice of ordering the food. If you wish to participate in that, the food is going to be delivered. Everyone has that opportunity, but they have to order by 9:45. We will include directions for that as well. So once the food order goes in, you will pick it up outside by the mall area. I think for those of you who've been on campus, based on where my hands are going, you kind of know where my office is. So in the mall area, you can pick up breakfast. There's free breakfast, free lunch. And if you wish to have the school lunch, the cafe is open with a limited service. They do have those fries that you've been missing. Burgers, chicken sandwiches, not the full menu. Other than that, you're going to come to your classroom with your computer. Every student will walk in. I would clean my desk. There are supplies there for them. I would clean my desk when I get there. We're going to try not to share desks when possible, but period by period, of course, never during the day. And we will work quietly in the classroom with your teacher, who will have also online students because we're a small school. Did I miss something?
No, I just wanted to kind of reiterate a few things, tie together a few things both that you said and that Mr. Harris said. So speaking of lunches, I want to be sure people heard you. First of all students, every student is eligible, at least through the, we know it's going to happen through the end of, at least through the end of this school year. Every student is eligible for both free breakfast and free lunch provided through the National School Food Service Lunch Program and the district's food lunch program, but it does require the ordering. And that's the line that's outside. And then as Mr. Castro mentioned, we do have some of our own McFatter food service operations open on a very limited basis. And it's limited for two reasons. Number one, our culinary programs, which typically for the students who have been with us before, you know, when you go into the cafeteria area, there's the cafe on the left, and then there's the cafeteria line on the right. The cafeteria line on the right is not open at all because the food that's typically served from that is the food that's produced by our adult culinary students who are currently still all learning remotely. So it's just the left side, sort of the fast food kind of side, as Mr. Castro mentioned, and it's in smaller quantities because we have so many fewer people on campus. So it is a smaller selection and smaller quantities that is available for purchase. That's not part of the free program. That is available for purchase for those who want it. So I wanted to be sure people understood that. And then Mr. Harris kind of referenced at lunch, that is the only time of the day students are able to take their masks off, obviously, because you're eating, but you still have to maintain physical distance. And our typical lunch tables that are out along the mall, the diameter of those tables is not 6 feet in diameter, which means basically one student per table. They can sit at tables, you know, the table next to each other, but they can't sit at the same table. And so again, we'll help you with all that. Students still are able to sit along the benches. We've got a lot of students enjoying, it's great weather now, so we've got some students sitting out on the field or back by behind the high school. So lots of opportunities for that, and additional seating we're providing. We're trying for now to keep people out of the indoor dining in the cafeteria because indoor dining without masks is considered a source of potential transmission. So we're still trying to keep students outside, and obviously the weather's cooperating. Mr. Castro, I think you were getting ready to pipe in there and say something as well.
Yes, we are going to be adding some of the plastic tables that we believe a student can sit at each end and have 6 feet. But
Right.
Once you're done eating, we ask if you're sitting and talking to someone, put your mask back on. I've had a couple of students who forgot, they got up and they're like, oh, and they get them back on.
Right.
So we're very conscientious about that, and we really want you to have a good experience while you're here. So go ahead, Mr.
And then I know Mr. Harris looks like he wants to say something. I also want to mention, we talked a little bit about in the classroom where the desks have been marked off or in some cases removed, but in most cases it's just marked off so that the desks where you're sitting are all 6 feet apart, which also has the net effect of reducing the classroom capacity in each classroom because you have to, all the seats are 6 feet away. Fortunately, we're able to accommodate all of that because, go back to what I said at the very start, we're only going to be at about 15% face-to-face. And so the typical high school classroom now has a capacity of around 9 or 10 people in it. And that includes the teacher, but all of our numbers of students returning are below that. And so we're not violating the physical distancing, even with having those lower capacities. And Mr. Harris, you wanted to add something.
And this is one other thing just to add in, and it's all about safety for all of our students and our staff. Just a reminder, we have 2 nurses on campus. Every day the students are here, we have 2 nurses on campus. We always had 1 nurse, but now we have an extra nurse, and that's just in case someone is not feeling well, and that we will have that student, we'll get that student and have that student come be evaluated. And if, you know, it deems we need to call the parent to come, have you come pick up your child, we will do that. But we just want to make sure that everything's done here to make sure that you're safe. So we've tried to cover all of our bases to make learning still fun, but also keep you safe. And I just wanted to highlight that.
And I think the last thing I want to say in terms of protocols is something that's really just sort of more of an awareness we want parents to be aware of, and because of something. It's not really something that we do, it's something that we need you to do. We've talked a lot about the protocols we have here on campus, the sanitizing, the distancing, the mask wearing, how we manage the lunches and so forth. The other piece we need to be sure happens with the students who are participating on campus in particular, although technically it's supposed to be true of all of our students, but it's especially important for our students who are coming physically to campus. We need to be sure that if you become aware of an exposure concern or a positive test result affecting your family off campus, a student has been exposed to potential COVID off campus, or the family has been exposed off campus, we need you to reach out to us and let us know. There are protocols that we follow and that our students and staff follow if somebody has tested positive, or if somebody has symptoms. But there are also protocols we follow if neither of those things is true, but somebody's been exposed to somebody. And we can walk you through all of that and tell you what needs to happen on your end. And again, it's all designed to make sure that if we all do our piece, it helps keep everybody safe and healthy. And that is the goal that we continue as we move forward, managing and providing for that safe environment in which students can learn and stay healthy.
And I'd like to add that even if you're a student in the remote environment, please reach out and let us know, because we've had several students who were sick with COVID-19 and struggling in school, and it looked like they were just not going to class when indeed they were sick. And so the teacher, the counselor can't provide help for those situations if we are unaware. So it is also helpful in that environment to know.
Absolutely. I think that's it for this week. Oh, you wanted to add something else, Ms. DeCastro?
I remembered something based on a text message I received in the middle of this message, that we need to remind everyone that Thursday is no longer an early release day. Friday is no longer a planning day.
Friday tomorrow.
Friday, like today and tomorrow, we're not early release days, and okay. But also the early release day was moved to next Tuesday, which is the last day of the quarter. So students were asking if they had to come to school tomorrow, which they don't, which they do. And then on Tuesday, they will have their early release day. And I forgot about that before.
That was a good thing to remind. We want to commend all of our students here as we are wrapping up the second quarter, wrapping up the first semester. We know it's been a challenging time, and we're really proud of our students for working as hard as they were. We had some of our students participating in a winter academy even to work on getting their grades up if they were doing poorly in some of their classes. And we're excited about the opportunity for everybody to get a fresh start in their new set of classes come Wednesday. Obviously, for those of you who are in 11th or 12th grade, your tech class won't be new, but your academics will be. And we're excited about those opportunities for students. Do we have anything else, or is that it?
I want to give congratulations to the nursing students who completed their candle lighting ceremony today, to the cybersecurity students who are about to go into the next phase of their competition. And thank you to both of you for everything you're doing to help us to have a wonderful school year in this environment.
Well, it's thanks all around to everyone, because it truly is a team effort. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to keep everybody in the village healthy too. And so we're very proud and very pleased of our staff, our students, and our families to be navigating as successfully as we are able to this very unprecedented time for all of us. And we're hoping that things get back to normal before too much longer. There is certainly hope on the horizon. So we just need to be sure that until we get to that point, everybody stays healthy and is able to focus on learning and flourishing. And so with that, we will wrap things up. Finish strong these last couple of days. Some of you we will see newly next Wednesday. As always, reach out to any of the three of us if you have any questions or concerns that we can help with. And we'll have information out to you about the virtual mall. And then otherwise, we will see you back here YouTubing it 1 week from today, which will be the second day of the new semester. Thanks, everybody. Bye, you two. Have a great afternoon.
Take care. Bye.